Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of From the District with State Senator Suzanne Weber. Again, Senator Weber joins me not from the district. Senator, how are you?
I'm good. Actually, it was a good day, a
Oh, good.
very good day. Let me just tell you. First of all, this is the day when we were on the floor from 11 to 12:30, and then back on the floor from 1 until 3. And I think we passed 18 bills, um, and we had a lot of good discussion. But the thing that was really wonderful was this morning, my SCR 30, which was acknowledging the children of military.
Right.
And we had, I bet there were about 15 kids there that were introduced on the floor. They couldn't come down on the floor because there's just too many of them. But they were there, and we were able to acknowledge them, and especially as part of the fact that the governor's proclamation for this month was that this is the month of the military child in Oregon. And today is the day that was designated for them.
Excellent. You had a great introduction to the proclamation, pointing out that Oregon is one of the few states without a major military installation. So a lot of
Yep.
those kids, as you've mentioned, they may be the only ones, them and their siblings, the only one going through the stuff that they're going through.
Right.
Something like this is small, but everything that you can do to bring attention to them is, I think,
Right. And the other thing is, we're trying to get a little funding for their summer camp.
right. That fight continues. It's amazing. It's $100,000, $100,000. You guys deal in billions of dollars, and we're fighting tooth and nail to get $100,000. It is very frustrating.
Right.
But
Oh, and today is port day at the Capitol also. And so we have a lot of people here from the different ports. Michelle Bradley from Port of Tillamook Bay was here with some new pictures of things that are going on at the port.
Oh, yes, lots going on there.
Yeah, because, it's really cool.
Yeah.
Amazon.
Yes, Amazon's going to be
The
there.
Amazon building is going up, and, that's going to be a financial boom for the port especially.
It is. Well, Senator, as we were recording this last week, some news broke in that the transportation chairs released their framework of the big, long-awaited transportation package.
Right.
Have to emphasize that this is a framework. It is very short, very brief, of what will most likely be a very long piece of legislation.
Well, yes, and they're expecting that this is going to be completely taken care of by May.
Right. Well, what I would like to do, Senator, is walk through the framework and talk about it a little bit, because I bet there are people who don't know that this is a thing.
Right.
So even folks who if they're listening to this, they are probably fairly plugged in the things that are happening, but maybe they haven't gone through some of these details. There haven't been a lot of details, but there are some details.
Right.
So
and there's the promise that we're going to work together and in a bipartisan effort to make sure that this is going to be fair for all the states.
Well, let's hope so. So this project is going to cost about just shy of $2 billion. So 1.9 billion, and there's billion with a B.
B.
So I want to walk through how this money is going to come in and how it's going to be spent. Of course, basic framework. So let's start with 1.5 billion of this is going to come through an increase in the gas tax.
Right.
20 cents.
Actually, you said 1.5. Yes.
Yes. Right. And this would be staggered, implemented.
Right.
So next year, you'd see an 8 cents increase. And then every 2 years after that, you'd see a 4-cent increase.
Right.
So this,
and you hear the sirens?
Yes.
That's downtown Salem.
Well, yeah.
And then, the registration
Right.
fee.
We'd see a $66 increase
And the title fee.
and a $90 increase. And this is going to be tough for some of our long haul truckers. Near 17% weight mile tax increase. That is the tax formula that is based on the weight of a truck and how far it drives.
Right.
That's 17%. That's big.
That is yes, it's a huge jump.
So so when we were talking about where's the other money coming from, it's about $500 million. So 486 million is going to come in from a one-time user fee on all vehicles of 1% of the price. So a user fee is essentially a sales tax.
Right? It is. That's exactly what it is. It is a sales tax.
So 1% fee if you're buying a $40,000 car, which is about average for a new car, that would be $400.
Right.
On your
and what they're saying is their focus is going to be operations, maintenance, and preservation.
Right. So that's important. That's important to talk about. This is no new projects.
No.
This
no
is just
new
fixing
projects.
what we have.
However, they still have like 6 projects that are unfinished that have been ongoing since 2017.
Right. And every year it gets more and more expensive, right?
Yes.
Right. Well, so, let's then talk about what this is going to do. One additional thing here that they want to do is what's called a road usage charge, or what some folks call per mile tax.
Yes.
We've talked about, I know some folks have been trying to figure out how are you going to replace gas tax revenue?
Right. Because we have over 100,000 cars on the road today in Oregon that are not paying gas tax, which is the base of our funding presently.
Right. So this would make it so they're not so much paying higher registration fees as they are.
Well, their mileage is being monitored, and there are various ways that they have reported that is it's able to do that without taking away your privacy or having Big Brother watch over you all the time. And so they feel that they have a secure way to be able to monitor that.
Right.
And there's different ways you could you can have the money just withdrawn from your bank account, or you could get an invoice and have to pay it.
So this would not be for everyone. This would start in July 2026. This would only be on existing electric vehicles.
Right.
So, and then in 2027, it would be in newly purchased electric vehicles. In 2028, it would also include plug-in hybrids. So there are some cars that maybe run for 30 or 40 miles on electricity, but the rest on gas. And then in 2029, 2029 is new vehicles rated at 30 miles per gallon or greater.
Right. Starting with the model year 2030.
Of note on that, I believe that is the year, I can't remember 2030, 2035, but that all new vehicles will be rated that level, because that'll be a requirement. So essentially, all new cars after 2030 will be paying this. And what I wonder how this looks in 2030, because right now I can see the need to do something like this because electric vehicles are not paying gas tax, right?
Right.
So is the gas tax going to go away? If you're paying for those folks who are doing who are from 2030 on, they've got to pay this if they're doing 30 miles per gallon or greater, if they're rated that. So they're paying, and the plug-in hybrids too, because they do really have gas, so they're paying I wonder if they're paying a reduced per mile tax, or if they're paying the whole per mile tax and the gas tax. So that's a question I would have as we move forward in that one. And I know you don't have the answer to this.
I do not have the answer. And There's a limited number of people who were involved in creating this, and it hasn't been officially rolled out before the committee. It's just, been publicly released. And so the committee hasn't had any kind of an opportunity to discuss this and the ramifications of it.
Right. Well, let's talk a little bit more about spending of this money.
All right.
Transit is
Yes.
part of this. I am particularly interested what they consider transit. Is there going to be money coming? Would there be money coming to small local transit districts like Ravenville County or Sunset Empire?
The transit districts visited me this week, and they are hoping that that's going to be something that they are going to get some funds for, because they're running out of money too. Right. Some of them have tax bases, and everything right now is costing more than it did in the past, or when the tax base was passed, and so they're needing additional revenue.
Well, one of the ways they intend to do that is to increase the payroll tax.
Exactly.
Right now, the payroll tax is 0.1%. This would raise it to 0.18%, so essentially doubling the payroll tax on this.
Yes, and it's so interesting because I have a group in here that says, you just can't do this to us. We've had it. No more taxes. And then I have another group in that says, this is the only way we're going to be able to make it, is if you increase that tax.
Right. Well, here's another thing that the money is going to be spent on is rail.
Yes.
This one is interesting to me. This was
Amtrak.
$17 million would go to Amtrak, new Amtrak service levels. I worked in Seattle for a time, so I took a Cascade line. I cannot think of a time that I took that line that the train was more than 25% full.
Well, and you can't count on it
right.
being on time and being in good repair. And, they have openly said that Amtrak is the one rail that is losing business. Freight is making money, but when, and now they want to take it down to only one operator per train. Can you imagine a train a mile long and an operator that is on a 12-hour shift and there's no place to stop? What if there's an accident? Train's a mile long. It's really interesting, but it is freight that is making money for the railroads, but not Amtrak. And they really want to improve that line between Portland and Eugene.
Right. Well,
and then there are people that say the only reason you would do that is for the football games.
Well, I don't know.
Yeah.
So let's take a look here at how they want to fund this. This would come from an increase in the vehicle privilege tax, which is a tax on vehicle dealers.
Yes.
Of course, that's going to get passed on. Currently,
yes.
that privilege tax is 0.5% of the price. This would raise it another 0.3%.
Mm-hmm.
So if you remember back what we just talked about, there's also another 1%. So now we're talking about actually another 1.5%. So on a $40,000 car, we're talking about $600. And they think that's going to raise up just about $45 million. And now here's the biggie. Here's the biggie.
Go ahead.
The 3%
tire tax.
This would go to this.
Yes.
So this is where this is going to get some people cranky. And 50% of that tire tax is going to go to rail operations.
Yes, and the other 50% is going to go to wildlife crossings
and salmon restoration. So,
yes,
I think a lot. while it might be hard to swallow, I think maybe some folks in Oregon, in Tillamook County, for example, if that money was going to go to fix Highway 6, I think people might be able to swallow that. But for half the money to go to rail operations and half the money to go to wildlife,
that's just a little too much.
We're not going to see a whole lot of benefit where we're at, right?
No, we're not. No, and I'm going to have County Commissioner. I approached County Commissioner Fournier and Shelley Bossart Davis, who is Vice Chair of Transportation, and Lindsay from ODOT, and Representative Javity, and we're going to get together and talk about Highway 6 on the 15th.
Very good. One last thing, lest the bikers thought they were going to get out of this.
They're not.
They're not. Not a whole lot, but right now there is a $15 per bike tax. If that bike is $200 or more, which most of them are, this would raise it from $15 to about $25, so another $10. It only raise about $1 million, but at least there's something on them.
Right. And someday I'll have to talk about all of the new bicycle law changes that are being proposed. Whether they are accepted and passed out of committee, I don't know. But
so Senator,
there's a lot of stuff that doesn't make sense there.
There's a lot of money here, and I think in some one thing I don't see here, with except for kind of in passing reference, is this is all new money. This is all new money. I don't see, except for one kind of passing reference saying that there's going to be accountability and there's an audit going on. Is there any sort of reduction in ODOT's other funds budget?
No.
Like, is there any sort of administrative reduction where they got some skin in the game too?
No, what they're doing is, as people retire, though, they aren't rehiring a lot of them, and they feel there's a big reduction, big savings in that. But because things like, the Manning Station,
right,
for maintenance, that's closed, and the person it was relocated, or I don't know if they even kept the job. So that's just chipping away at rural Oregon once again.
Right. I think ODOT has a lot of proving themselves to do before they're just given another $2 billion bucks. They lost 1 billion of it.
Well, they lost $1 billion of it, and then they changed their bookkeeping system. Okay, is that how you make up for that?
I've never tried that.
As far as I'm concerned, I've not been successful at that.
Right. So I'm going to try to make this a quick one, because I know you and I both have
we both have meetings
we need to get to. But I'm going into this with a great deal of trepidation. I believe you are as well. I think we all gasped at some of this. We're going to see what actually comes up outside of just a basic.
Right.
There's stuff here we understand. There's stuff here that we absolutely cannot abide. And at the end of the day, what we're at right now is trying to make the first group bigger than the second group. Because if it isn't, then that'll inform your vote.
You're right.
So we'll go ahead and wrap this up here, Senator. I do want to let everyone know this.
Excuse me.
This is coming up on next weekend. Is going to be Easter, so the senator and I are going to take a little break. We're going
to take a week. We're going to have Easter vacation.
We're going to have a little break here from
15 minutes or so.
Yeah. So we will not have an episode of From the District next week, but do go ahead and keep an eye on what's going on in the legislature. Look for look for other content on social media from us, but we are just going to take a little break from this. But we will be back towards the end of the month, and we'll get back to having some good conversations.
Right, and I'll have more information on my Highway 30 bill. I'll have information on the results of the Highway 6 meeting, and let you know about my insurance fund getting passed, and my IDA, individual development account, being passed. and let you know some other stuff.
We're going to have a lot to talk about
Yes.
when we come back, but we did want to touch on this transportation framework because it is a big deal. It is going to affect your pocketbook no matter what happens. Hopefully, no matter if whatever passes, if something passes, will also affect positively some of the transportation infrastructure.
Yes.
To be determined. All right.
To be determined. All right.
All right, Senator. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, everyone. Always
our
appreciate
discussions.
This.
Yes.
Thank you very much, everyone, and we will see you in 2 weeks.
2 weeks. All right. Thank you.